Ladies and gentlemen, SMA is honored to be the champion sponsor of this remarkable Women's Summit hosted by APMP. This event is not just a gathering of talented professionals, it is a celebration of the determined spirit, strength, and achievements of women in our industry. The journey of women professionals has been marked by resilience, perseverance, and progress. However, we must also acknowledge that there's still work to be done. The gap in pay and career opportunities is strikingly large. The 2022-2023 compensation survey conducted by APMP showed a gender pay difference of 18.3%. Though the gap narrowed substantially in the past 5 years from 33% to the current 18.3%, we need to do better as an industry. Closing the gap is an immense challenge that we must undertake in unison. If we're to have any success, we must remain dedicated to eliminating discrimination and prejudice. That's why we're here today, united with APMP, to amplify the voices, stories, and aspirations of women professionals. This event must continue on for the coming decade as the crucial meeting place to help narrow the equity gap. We are pleased to announce that SMA has joined forces with APMP to be a champion sponsor for the next 10 years of this event. This summit is not just about empowerment, it's about recognition. It's about acknowledging the extraordinary contributions women have made to our industry, often in the face of adversity. At SMA, we firmly believe that diversity and inclusion are the cornerstones of progress and success. We understand that by fostering an environment where everyone has an equal opportunity to thrive, we unlock limitless potential. Equal pay and equal access to career opportunities have been pillars of SMA's philosophy for 40 years. We're partnering with APMP to create a future where glass ceilings are shattered, where women rise to the highest ranks, and where every voice is heard and valued. We want to create a culture where young professional women aspire to join our industry and work with role models and trailblazers who inspire and mentor them. To the women professionals attending this summit, I urge you to seize every opportunity that comes your way. Believe in your abilities, trust your instincts, and dare to take the lead. Your expertise, insights, and unique perspectives are invaluable assets that drive innovation and progress. Remember, empowerment is not just an individual journey. It's a collective effort. We must support and uplift one another. We want to express our gratitude to the leadership team at APMP for their unwavering commitment to promoting women professionals. We are proud to stand alongside them and support this summit as we collectively pave the way for a more inclusive and equitable industry. Thank you for listening, and let us embark on this transformative journey together.
Hello, hello. Well, thank you. Thank you for that great promotional video. Did you have a good time at this summit? My co-presenter at our session, I don't know if everyone's had a chance to meet you, because I know that you're new with SMA. So I thought this would be a great time to give an introduction, and you can let everyone know a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Andrea Crofton, and I just joined SMA in late July. Prior to coming to SMA, I had the privilege to be an SMA client at KPMG, and I got to witness firsthand the amazing support of all the associates that you provide day to day to our clients. At KPMG, I created and built the competitive intelligence division, and prior to that, I ran a major Navy team. So my background is a mix of program management, financial management, proposal management, capture management, BD, all sorts of things. Anyway, I'm very excited to be here and work with all of the talented staff and associates.
Great. So this is a great example. SMA's session at the Women's Summit this year was SMA Women Step Out and Climb. And as you can see, you climbing the ladder and doing different things. Looks like we have like kind of a shared graphic on the screen right now with the Women's Summit. Originally, Lana Browner was going to be like having this discussion with me on women stepping up and climbing and supporting each other. What is the definition of power? How we support each other, feedback, challenges as a job seeker, why be a consultant? Well, Lana, because she is a consultant, was helping one of our clients, so couldn't make it. And so at the last, times as we were figuring out how were we going to do this, We stepped up and we supported each other. And Andrea and I led a great session. Don't you think?
Oh, I had a lot of fun. It was a good interaction. And I think it really touched and reached a lot of people.
Yeah, speaking about people, there were close to 500 attendees at the APMP Women's Summit this year. It's a virtual summit, and as you saw in the video just by Sarah, SMA is going to be a champion sponsor for the next 10 years.
I'm really proud to be part of an organization that recognizes kind of the struggles that we've had in the industry and helping us to really express that and to inspire and mentor those that are coming up in this profession.
That's one of the things that you and I talked about in our session is what were the challenges of a woman job seeker? Like, what did we look for when we were looking for a new job and stepping out, climbing up the ladder virtually, you know, going those monkey bars across? So do we want to share right now? Again, like, we have a lot of participants on this call. So we want to share with you what we talked about during the session. But one of the things about the virtual summit was that interactivity. So if you've got some questions about what happened at the summit, different issues you want to bring up, put them in the chat right now and we'll interact with you during this session as well. Because we believe that is a very powerful thing. And it's why we're consultants, is like that collaboration and that interaction.
Absolutely. That was actually a critical part of my job search too, especially after COVID. You know, it was great at first when they're like, everybody go home, you can do your work from there, which was amazing in my industry. But after 2 years of that, you start missing that in-depth relationship building that you do day to day and really having the ability to interact more than just during a meeting. I think it's important to all of us. That's how we build trust. It's how we build deeper relationships with each other. And for me, it's a very valuable part of my job experience.
And I think like one of the things that inspired like my session, and we'll go into this a little later in our talk today, was power. And like, what does it mean to be powerful? And really, as consultants, we make an impact and we are powerful. And that's going to tie in something a little bit later that we'll talk about, just as we did on our session, is linking with this with the SMA values. Because again, that impact that we can make. So we're excelling. So people can rely on us to do that, to lead.
Well, and I think the whole definition of power has changed significantly in the last 3 to 5 years. It's not the traditional power base that you were talking about before. We've all grown a tremendous bit, I think, you know, as a society. And really, what does it mean to each individual? Because it's different now. It's not the same. It's very personal to each person. And I think that that's really important to understand what makes you powerful and what you bring to that table.
And I think that's one of the things that we talked about at the session. I was inspired by this book called The Power Code, and we can put the information like in the chat for everyone. The book is by Katie Kay and Claire Shipman, and they're also the authors of a book called The Confidence Code. But one of the things that the book inspires is to really think about the definition of power. So traditionally, that definition of power might have been the power over something. And now, like, one of the things, and we even got this in our session, is power is the ability to, influence, like to make an impact, like to get results. So, you know, again, one of the things we challenge and we can share as well, what is your definition of power?
Absolutely. And this was something that, you know, Heather really asked me beforehand to think about. And really what I came up with independently was influence. It was the ability to influence my work. It was the ability to be useful, to actually, you know, create quality, create something in what I provide to people. That to me is power, the ability to influence an organization, a proposal, leaders, to the ability to influence people that you're mentoring. There's a lot of that in there. And to me, that makes me very powerful as a person, makes me feel good. That's what I want. It's all about job satisfaction at the end of the day, right? And personal growth.
And so there's job satisfaction, and other times women and men as well, they look for job security. And so that's one thing in when you're making those powerful decisions, what's most important to you.
Well, and most important at that moment in time, and be
Mm,
ready to change that. You know, when you start off in your career, it could be as simple as, I want to work with somebody who's respected. I want to start building my reputation. I want to learn. I want a good mentor. And as you grow, maybe stability is more important as you have a young family or as you're buying your first home. And then as you get older again, you're back to more risk-taking behavior. You want to grow faster. You want to influence more. You want to have more of an impact because of your passion for what you're doing.
yeah. So one of the things in the virtual summit, like it's available to anyone who registered for the next 90 days. So there was like over 30 sessions that we could listen to and interact in community and do like also different polls. So we hosted a poll during our own session about what is your definition of power? So we had 9 different answers. So I wanted to share like in our poll. So again, this is what we interacted during the session. We talked about what is the definition of power. Several like participants on our call said it was having influence. It was power was when you had control of a person or outcomes, that you could, have a time where you could make decisions, that freedom of decisions without fear. And then also some felt that power had to do with respect, about being respected and trusted by those I lead and love. And then also that self-respect. And then also they talked about power is being able to speak up for the right things.
Yeah, because a lot of people, especially historically as a woman, we're very hesitant to speak up. You don't want to be that squeaky wheel. The squeaky wheel sometimes gets, pounded down. And that's not what you want for yourself. But at the same time, we see, I don't know if it's compassion or empathy or those things, but we want to protect people. We want to team build. We want to bring those things together. And I think that really, not even just women, everybody, that's really the change in social consciousness that we've seen over time.
So another definition that we weaved into our discussion was power is the ability to make decisions without worrying about the consequences.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, your decision is based on the information you have at hand. And we all know that that is not perfect, right? Perfect information doesn't exist. And so if you're so afraid of what could happen versus what should happen, you become inept in decision making, and no decision is a decision, and it's usually not a good one.
Well, and I think that goes into back. We also challenged our listeners to think about a time where they felt like most powerful. And I know you and I have like continued that discussion. And don't we feel really powerful when we're influencing a no bid decision?
Absolutely. I mean, just recently I'm working with a brand new client, and that's really at the end of the day, they need somebody to come in. The RFP's already dropped. They're guns to the wall. They want to go through this, but their management group is like, that's a gold mine for us to be able to say, look, we can give you concrete evidence why this is a good bid decision for you, or maybe it's not a good bid decision for them, but let's provide that to them, because obviously they're struggling or they wouldn't have called us.
Yeah. So, okay. So one of the things that both of us shared, and so again, like we weaved in like our values in, and I know that we're going to have like a slide later and it's on SMA's website about what are our values, but one of SMA's values is honesty. And like, there's some like a different words about that. And SMA has some words about being known for our candor, for our truthfulness, for our straightforwardness. And then how like uncompromising integrity in managing those legal and moral ethics. Because as we work with our clients, like how is important. And I know earlier we also talked about transparency, because as we're doing, yeah, you're allowed to no bid, John, huh? Yeah.
You are. And to me, those three are so tied together that they're almost impossible to separate. Because if you're honest, then you have integrity, and transparency is part of that. Like, what is honesty without transparency?
Yeah. So with that transparency, I know we shared things, and I don't know if we should probably share again for our audience and we encouraging everyone, and put it in the chat or just give it a think about, but think about a powerful time pull in that memory right now of when you felt most powerful. Because one of the things that we brought up at the Women's Summit is sometimes we as women have a hard time thinking, when was I powerful?
Well, and I'm an economist by background. And one of the things that is an economic law is that people are self-interested. And it gets kind of messed up because people think of that as selfish. But at the same time, you have to think about it. What is it that makes you happy? What is that self-interest? And for a lot of it, it's helping people. It's having that impact, having that influence. So my most powerful time was a project where we fielded a ton of vehicles, the MRAP, for those that are familiar with it, it's a mine-resistant ambush protected vehicle into Iraq. And its sole purpose was to save lives of our soldiers. And to me, that had so much deep personal meaning and connection to that mission. That was my most powerful time.
And I know one of my most powerful times was when I was working with my former company, and we were doing that long-term vision, and we were going strategically after contracts and figuring out what we needed to do to get where we wanted to go. So the very first RFP we responded to, we didn't win. And then the next one we submitted and we did. And then slowly we built it up over many years to a really large portfolio. So I remember being able to, if you could identify what you needed to do it, and then actually winning it. That was a very powerful way to for me to go, I contributed to something really successful.
Well, and I think you've hit on something else that you didn't necessarily mention at that, but you were respected enough to be part of that process. Right? Because it's about opportunity, and opportunity is about who trusts you and who respects your opinion. And they respected your opinion, or you wouldn't have been involved in that strategic planning, and you would have been able to see it through. And that's got to feel powerful too.
And I think that's why we have a whole team on the call, and we're professional services consulting firm. I think we come in and we speak that truth to power. We get to be powerful. We get to say, hey, this is going right, or this area needs significant improvement.
Well, as Tom Hernandez likes to say, we sell leadership, right?
Yeah. And again, I think, with the values, because again, there's 7 different SMA values, and we had over 40 minutes on our session to interact. So we have a little less time today. But I know one of the things too that we talked about is these 7 values. It looks like, that we've got that up on the screen right now. And one of the things is that courage is seeking to understand and improve outcomes by respectfully challenging prevailing assumptions and conventional wisdom. And I think we do that with our expertise, with our professionalism, with how we reach out to each other and support each other. So as we kind of wrap up, with our callers today, we've got some comments from Carol here. In the US, an individualistic culture, it's too easy to believe that we are proverbial islands. And there's autonomous and independent, really. We're all connected. And that collective is one of the keys to true leadership and power. And then Holly, she's on our call right now. She's like, you are so right. We can get so little done by ourselves. We are most powerful when we get things done in groups. So here at SMA, we're a big group, right?
Every superhero, right, has a support team. I mean, honestly, you can think the most of yourself, but at the end of the day, what you're providing is a combination of you and everybody else working to support you.
Yeah, because I know at the summit, we also had several of the associates join the summit, and we had the watch party, and we, interacted. And then also there are, as I said, several other different sessions, and they ranged everything from, imposter syndrome to building confidence to, women's issues, women, we go through menopause, as we, get more beautiful as we age. And so there were sessions on that. There were also sessions about dealing with diversity and women of color and people of color. And also what we just talked about is leadership. And that, and men go through, I don't know about andropause.
Best kept secret.
But I know that do we have any takeaways for our listeners today? I mean, we know that we want to continue the discussions we had at the virtual summit. We want to continue them through our town halls and connecting with each other as women and men. What are some other takeaways that we might have for our listeners today?
For me, the biggest takeaway is that you have power and you need to mentor people around you, under you, above you, everybody. Share your confidence. And when you need it, they're going to share it with you. Really build those teams, build those relationships, build that understanding in between people. And that really goes to every one of our values, because if you start at the top, courage is going to be easy if you've got all of the honesty, the impact, the passion, all of the others on top there. So, share part of your.
And I want to say, I think it's the resources at SMA. I mean, we have strong women in our corporate staff, from Maureen to Holly to Jenny to Melissa to Susanna to Liz to Patricia. Patricia created a lot of the artwork and the graphics, as well as, Dick Easom and the team. There were several different promotional videos that really came together to introduce a lot of the speakers during the day. And, Sarah always does a fabulous job in integrating what SMA is and, sharing those art talks as she did today. So thank you for that. And
Nicole always brightens my day.
Yes. We can't forget Nicole. How many times does she send out communication, share with us about that? And also we've got Lexi, who does our production things. We've got Sophie. Who else am I forgetting to mention anyone else? Patty, Patty was on the calls as well. And so during the summit, but here at SMA, not only do we have so many strong women, and our associates on the call today, but we have a strong community that supports each other.
Every time I do an interview for different deployments, I am just so amazed by the women I'm talking to, whether they're a technical writer or a graphics production or a proposal manager. I mean, it's incredible, the kind of talent that we have. I mean, male and female, but it's incredible.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're just about time. We'll hand it back to the studio to wrap it up for today, but feel free to ask both of us more questions, and we look forward to sharing more of our perspectives on power and here at SMA in the future.
Hi, everyone. We actually want to show a little bit about the reactions from the staff members who attended the APMP conference. So just give us a second. We're going to show a very short video on that.
I really enjoyed today's Women's Summit and enjoyed the speakers. And one of the comments that Andrea made that I really was a takeaway for me was that self-interest is not selfishness. I think that's very important, and I loved it. Thanks, ladies. Great job.
It was very inspiring, and the question of what inspired your role in leadership really hit home, because that's kind of where I'm at right now, is learning how to take roles in leadership.
This was a great talk, and I really loved two things. One was really the power to make decisions. I think we have to really that's really important, to make decisions in everything we do. And also, just really focusing on the actions and not worrying about things, really focusing on the solution.
What a fantastic Women's Virtual Summit. Thanks again to Heather and Andrea for such an amazing talk. And I really enjoyed the advice that they gave at the end for women just starting their career about finding a mentor. So thank you guys.
The Women's Summit brought up important values: courage, leadership, enthusiasm, drive, teamwork, integrity. Great job, ladies.
I thought Heather and Andrea did a great job today. Thank you for all your support, and I look forward to working with you.
I really enjoyed the Women's Summit. I feel like one of the messages that I took away from this was that power comes in all forms and means something different to everyone.
What an incredible event. Honestly, it was a true representation of how not only SMA, but SMA women step up for each other and with each other.
It was absolutely wonderful watching the Women's Summit and getting to see and hear a little bit more from two of my coworkers, especially the particular new one, Andrea. Welcome to the team, and I can't wait to see the next one.
Great job with the Women's Summit today. It was so important to learn about all those topics, and thank you for tuning in.
Go SMA!
Hey, go SMA! I love that.
All right.
That was an exciting day. So, and thank you so much, Andrea and Andrea and Heather, for your review of the panel discussion that you had.
And thank you. We had no idea that was like that commentary was put together. That was really great. So thank you, Maureen, for everything that you do. And